Boeing 737 MAX 8. The length of this aircraft is 39.52 meters and the wingspan reached 35.9 meters. The maximum seats for this aircraft is 210 and the range will go until 6,570 km, and the engine used is LAW18 from CFM International. Factual information of the accident. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 was scheduled international passenger flight from Addis Ababa Boeing International Airport in Ethiopia to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, Kenya. On 10 March 2019, the Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft which operated the flight crashed near the town of Bishoftu 6 minutes after takeoff. 1 minute into the flight, the first officer acting on the instruction of the captain reported a flight control problem to the control tower. 2 minutes into the flight, the plane's MCAS system activated, pitching the plane into a dive toward the ground. The pilot struggled to control it and managed to prevent the nose from diving further, but the plane continued to lose altitude. 3 minutes into the flight, with the aircraft continuing to lose altitude and accelerating beyond its safety limits, the captain instructed the first officer to request permission from air traffic control to return to the airport. Permission was granted and the air traffic controllers diverted other approaching flights. Following instruction from air traffic control, they turned the aircraft to the east and it rolled to the right. The right wing came to point down as the turn steepened. The aircraft disappeared from radar screens and crashed at almost 8:44 a.m., 6 minutes after takeoff. Flight tracking data showed that the aircraft's altitude and rate of climb and descent were fluctuating. Several witnesses stated that the plane trailed white smoke and made strange noises before crashing. The aircraft impacted the ground at nearly 700 miles per hour, equivalent to 1,100 km per hour. There were no survivors. It crashed in the Woreda district of Gimbechu, Oromia region, in a farm field near the town of Bishoftu, 62 kilometers southeast of Bole International Airport. The impact created a crater about 90 feet wide, 120 feet long, and wreckage was driven up to 30 feet deep into the soil. Wreckage was thrown around the field along the personal effects and body parts. The fatality recorded was 157 people aboard was killed, and 149 of them were passenger, and the rest of them are crew.
Finding the probable causes. Human factor. There are several human factors that are linked with this air crash, as the first one is the Ethiopian investigator accused that the Boeing 737 MAX design has flaws. In the 136-page report on March 10, 2019, it said about the struggle that the pilots faced to cope with the series of automation, failures and clashing alarms and alerts that triggered shortly after the takeoff. The Flight 302 crashed 6 minutes later and killed all 157 people on board. According to report, also said that there are difference in the train for the airlines pilot, as they don't tell the pilot that the new Boeing 737 behave differently than the earlier version of 737. Contrary to a Boeing document, a critical cockpit alarm did not work. According to the research, Boeing and its US regulator failed to educate analysts how to new automatic feature known as the maneuvering characteristic argumentation system or MCAS could go awry. MCAS has been implemented in both 737 MAX crash as the contributing factor. Mechanical problem. The mechanical problem that occurred was in 2 minutes into the flights. The MCAS system on the jet kicked in, sending the plane into a plug toward the ground. The pilots worked hard to keep it under control and kept the nose off from plugging any further, but the jet continued to lose height. The MCAS was reactivated, causing the nose to drop considerably lower. After that, the pilot switched a pair of switches to turn off the electrical trim tab system, which also turned off the MCAS software. However, by turning off the electrical trim system, they also turned off the ability to use the electrical switch on their yokes to trim the stabilizer into a neutral position. As we can see that the new MCAS system is one of the main reasons the flight 302 went down and killed hundreds of people. Weather condition. The weather condition for that morning in Addis Ababa was fair, sunny and 61 degrees with light wind. As we can see that the weather is suitable for any aircraft to fly, and in this case, weather is not one of the probable factors that can affect this aircraft performance. Recommendation. I would suggest that Boeing should be aware and take serious of any updates and new system that they are adding into their new aircraft. As for this incident, Boeing should inform all airlines about their new MCAS system and should give all pilots an increased training to expertise using the MCAS system.